welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to do a little kind of a step-by-step overview video on how to put in a double gate. I have a big long run of fence line here. It goes pretty far back, and the only gate I have that's worth a damn getting in and out is that little 5-footer. So what I want to do is put a double gate in over here around the buildings in order to get my truck in and out, mowers, etc. So I want to kind of go over what I'm doing, what I'm using, how I do it, angle of attack, all that kind of thing. So right now I'm basically mapping out where I need the gate to be. This is going to be a double gate with two 5'6" individual gates, so a double gate, and I need them to be able to open up 90 degrees to be able to get a vehicle in and out. So right here I have a little deck system that we built last summer or last winter, fall, whatever. So I need it to be able to clear the deck system. So I need the gates to kind of start right there where I got my first hole going in, and then I'm going to measure over 11 feet or so and put my next post in. Now the big tip here when you're starting out is to, one, obviously find a area to put the gate where you're not going to drive into a tree, and have enough swing both ways, so nice level flat ground if you have animals. You want to make sure you're mindful of your gap at the bottom. And then two is to not use the existing posts that are here. These posts only have 50 pounds of concrete in each one, and for gate posts that are going to support a hinged gate 5-6 feet, you're going to want at least 80 to 100 pounds of concrete in each post. And that's just my personal opinion. Here in Florida, where you live, it may be different. So what I'm going to do now is get the concrete setting on this post here where you see the shovel, and then I have to just stick build the fence to that, so there'll be fence all the way to there, and that's where our opening is going to start. So I'm going to stop blabbing and start working. Here's the first post that we just talked about. That's going in, and I have the hole dug correctly. And let me explain the string. The string is going to span from one edge of the fence to the other, and all this is really doing, got a couple of posts that got a little bananaed, but what this is essentially doing is aligning the fence line post straight, so your fence isn't way out here when you start. So this is just a good baseline. I mean, again, this fence is 4-5 years old, so it's got a little bit of warpage to it. It's the nature of wood fences in Florida, but this will give you a good baseline to keep everything nice and straight when you're looking at it on the hole shot there. So what I'm going to do is get this post set. This post is dug down about 2.5 feet, and I'm going to fill it up with 80 pounds of concrete, let that cure, don't touch it, and then keep going this way. All right, just drop the concrete, going with the high strength concrete mix, no quickcrete here. This is going to take some time to cure, but there's the concrete in there, mixed up appropriately, dropped in the hole. Here's our post, and you want to make sure you're good and plumb. So that means on both planes, so left to right, also other side, left to right. So lock that down, and when you're using a level and you're working with 6-foot posts, go ahead and grab yourself a 4-foot level, or even better, a 6-foot level, because if you use a short level, some of these posts tend to be kind of bananaed, and it could give you an inaccurate reading. So what I'm going to do now is let this cure, continue with the removal of this fencing here. What I'm going to do is measure off my 11 feet or so. I can kind of play with the gate size. I'm going to show you what I'm using as far as the gate frame so it never sags too. Big important tip. The gates, this gate over here, I'll throw a zoom on that thing, that gate right there never sags, and we use that 4, 5, 6 times a day for years, and we've never had a problem with it. So I'm going to use the same construction methodology on this moving forward. So let me go ahead and take the rest of this down, get the next post ready to go, and then we can start building some. I also want to show you a quick tip before I go any farther here. I've been preaching this forever about using screws on fencing instead of nails, and here's exactly why. So rather than have to use all new material to skin the fence when all this stuff isn't too old, if you use screws, you can completely take it apart. Just like that. You'll have a couple of stragglers that don't want to pop through. Every one of these boards is still reusable. No problems. One casualty, this guy right here. That was it. I had a stubborn screw that wouldn't come out. You can even reuse all your 2x4s. These are still straight. half still stained, no problems. So just want to go through that. So when you're putting together fence, doing board-on-board wood fence, definitely use screws. I know it's controversial. I got guys telling me that's crazy, that's so much time. All right, well, maybe if you're on a crew and you're doing it all day long, it would take extra time. But if you're doing it yourself and you're a homeowner, use screws, because every year when you go back through and you want to tighten up your fence, all you got to do is just add a screw, tighten one up, and then if you ever have to take it down, no destruction. I haven't even had to take a hammer out yet. So just wanted to show that off. Okay, here's the opening. All set. 2 new posts. First post, second post, 80 pounds of concrete in each. I have the rest of the fence built here that was destructed earlier with the reused pickets. Just needs a little stain and it's good to go. So now I'm going to focus on building the gate. This is going to be a 136-inch total width gate, edge to edge. Divide that in half and that's how large each gate's going to be. Pick yourself up some of these adjust-a-gates. All essentially it is a metal frame, but it utilizes a very nice hinge system that can go either direction. Has a little latch with it, little turnbuckle style adjustment, really good. So I'm going to show you what this looks. It's literally all this is a square, but this is a lifesaver when it comes to actually having a gate that doesn't sag over time. So let me go ahead and get this out of the box and show you how this works. Okay, I want to give you a look at what's inside the box of this adjust-a-gate. So here's the basic anatomy of what's going on. Here's the big takeaway here is it uses these hinges and lag style pins. So these pins go in here and the whole entire gate swings on these hinges. But what's great is that these clamp bolt onto the structure and you can actually adjust the gate up and down if you need to. So you got full mechanical adjustment all the time. You're not committed to backing out wood screws and then driving them back in again to adjust. So you get your basic hardware kit, comes with everything here. Here's your horizontal brace bars that go across, and here's your framework on each edge. So each one of these rails on the side make up a sidewall, and then your horizontal and go in that fashion, and then you put a 2x4 at the top and a 2x4 at the bottom according to what you need, and then you stick build on top of that. So I'm going to kind of put a little bit of this together and I'll show you what I mean. In order to make a 68-inch gate, I need to cut 2x4s. Two 2x4s is 65 inches. That gives me the difference between these little 1.5-inch bars. So 65 inches, top and bottom 2x4 give me a 68-inch gate. So I'm using fresh lumber here so nothing's twisted, and that'll give me a nice straight gate. So let me get those. The neighbors' dogs have come over to hang out, but I want to show you how you lay out your hinge areas here. You got 35 inches from corner to corner where that hinge can bolt to, and depending on how you want yours to aesthetically lay out, you want to take that, and what I did is I find my center line here, I come up 15, which gives me some room for adjustment. So I'm going to put one here, center line, come down 15, and I'm going to put one there, and then that allows you to adjust the gate up and down if you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and get those pre-drilled and tapped in, and then you can start hanging the frame. This is what the frame looks like put together. Okay, to drill these holes, you want to use a 9/16 hole bit, and you can twist these in with your hands, or a little trick is just to use a little back of a wrench. You can do that. Don't yell at me for using a gear wrench to do this. I'm actually going to go grab a regular wrench, but just want to show you my little method. The longer the wrench, the better. So screw those in, top, bottom, and then you can start putting your gate together. Okay, there's a real rough hang. You'll notice it's nice and straight, and the way I build these is it looks really cool when it's all symmetrical and you exit out and stuff. So I like to try to center everything up with these, and then I mimic a top runner and a bottom runner. It looks really good. So these are just bolted on here, and they hang on here, and you can adjust the gate all up and down, and with minimal effort it holds that gate real nice. So now you can load it up and it's not going to sag on you. So the trick is to go through and use all good deck hardware. Don't use that stuff that comes with the package underneath. So I'm going to keep going because I'm racing the sun now to get done. Here's both gates in, real simple, and now they can just be swung out, swung in at will. So what I'll do now is go back through and start to put my skin on, which is good. So that's the general lay of the land, and then you make your adjustments afterward. So let me go ahead and skin it now. Okay, if you've done it relatively correct, you should have something like this. 2 gate frames ready to accept your board-on-board fence. No BS, fully adjustable. They swing either way, 90 degrees, all the way. You can throw her around back that way, and if it doesn't come back at you either direction, you know you're nice and level. And if you use enough concrete, then you never have to worry about getting a wobbly post. So that's the gate portion of it. That seems to be the most difficult part of it. And the way I did it is I adjusted I got a little bit more adjustment. I can go down a little bit on this to make them perfectly even. And then the way you do it is you just loosen up these 9/16 bolts and you just move it up and down, throw a level up on the top. And you move this, you loosen this one and you loosen this one right here, and you can move it up and down and get it perfectly straight. So your inside lines of your fence all line up the way you want them to. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight, and then probably begin skinning it in the morning unless I feel ambitious here. All right, good morning. It's the next day, and I want to show you what happens when you rush. I have dogs, so I had to get this thing skinned last night. I wasn't paying attention, and it would do, but it's not perfect, so I'm going to be redoing it. Notice here, that goes that way and that goes that way. It's creating like a V. All right, I thought this was an important step to show. I've done it like this every time I've done one of these gates and never had failure. Instead of using those rinky-dink little turnbuckle things that they give you with the kit, which are these right here, once you have this thing skinned with board on board, this method's not going to really work, because you're asking tightening up that turnbuckle to fight against every one of the pickets that's got this thing locked in a square. So what I'm doing to prevent the V situation that's going on right here, if you'll notice, I'll take my level, put it here, and see how it's out. This one's not as bad as the other one was, but this, if I raise my level on this side right here, you'll see I'm going to raise it. It needs to come up about that much in between on this side. On this side it was a little bit worse. So what I'm doing is I got one of these. This is the best 50 bucks I ever spent. I lifted, this is a big red jack. I lifted that entire building out there all the way up about 8 inches with this little guy. I think this is a 20 ton jack, so more than enough, but just got it on a couple of boards here. And what I'm doing is I put my level over here on this side of the rail, and I basically just jack the corner up, which basically what it's doing is it's taking out the flex and the bind in this 2x4. So this 2x4 wasn't perfectly straight, and it's wood, so it's got a little bit of flex to it. That takes it out and it holds it square. So now this entire rectangle is square. And then what you do now that it's leveled right here, you could start to add some pickets onto this side to act as a shore up brace, or leave the jack on it the entire time while skinning it, which is actually a better practice, which is what I'm gonna do. And then you match up your pickets to your top string, and then you'll know when the entire thing is put together, it'll shore itself up into one nice solid geometrically correct rectangle, and you won't have to worry about it looking all angular and wonky when you're looking at a fence line from the whole shot, especially on the inside where you have the framing. Your eye is always going to go to the part that doesn't match the rest of the line. So the idea with this is to keep the line all horizontally level as much as possible. So to have nice straight lines on this side and then have it V downward and V back this way on here, it just makes it look like shoddy construction. So take this step and your finished product will look a lot better, especially when you run your mimicked top rail and your mimicked bottom rail underneath. Trust me, you'll appreciate the fact that you did this step. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the skin on here, take the jack off, and I'll show you how it keeps everything nice and square. Okay, and there it is, final product. Double gates are complete with the exception of some hardware and some stain. So I'll kind of go over what I did so you know how to follow along. Last clip I was doing the sheathing on the gate, which is the basic skin, which is all this board on board here. So I did the board on board by attaching it on the other side with the screws up onto the major frame, top and bottom rails. Got that all fixed, and then I did a final adjustment on the gate. So I adjusted the primary door up and down and the stationary door up and down to get everything perfectly dead aligned, perpendicular and parallel. So when you're looking at the gate from the whole shot, everything looks uniform and aligned all the way down the road. So no problem. This is a big long run of fence, almost 200 feet front to back, so you want that to look aesthetically pleasing. So once all that's done, then I went through, and a little trick to mimic the line at the top and the bottom rail is right here along here. I added some 1x4 material and cut those and aligned those and leveled those off at the top and bottom. That gives it that appearance of everything being in one plane. And then I went on ahead and did my little X design that I do on all my doors. Did them on, you know, these doors, those doors. It's all the way across except for the building that I bought. It's not on that. So I try to do the X design on everything out here to make it match. So that's just a matter of, you know, an angular cut here, here, and here, and you just kind of make sure everything stays on one plane, so don't layer your X at all. So X'd it, trimmed it, and then I added some hardware here, and some of this is redundancy. I have a lot of dogs, and this would be a pressure point here. I still have to fill in some bottom ground here, but let me walk you through how I have this set up. So this down here is a cane bolt, and this is set up to be on the frame of the gate, and this goes all the way down and then into a pipe down here on the ground. So to lift it up, it frees up the gate, and you'll notice there's a good amount of rock until you drop that cane bolt and bring it down. It steadies everything up real nice. I'll add another cane bolt to the other side once I'm ready to go. Keeps everything in line, so when the wind's blowing and going crazy, this gate will never release, which means the latch systems on the primary door will always stay intact. So that's just a cane bolt and a hook for the cane bolt here. Then I have a redundant cane bolt through here, so in case the primary is ever pulled, this one is here, which will keep the gate binded closed, just should the bottom latch and the top latch fail. Then there's a lower alignment latch here. This keeps, since this is pressure treated wood, there's a lot of flex in pressure treated wood. This will make the pressure treated wood dry out and keep the gauge straight. So little thing there, just use a bolt latch down here, and it's also a good redundancy if the dogs want to get down here and start fighting at the fence. You got no problem there. Then going up, this is the actual hardware supplied by the fence or the gate system. I just have to add 2 more screws in here, and then the inner screws here. So this will be the primary latch, and I can actually reach over the fence and latch and unlatch this. I don't want any access to be done on the roadside for security purposes. I want it all to be inside so I can reach over and pop it should I ever need to. So let me show you how it operates. So you lift your, actually you pop this, and this will show you how a little bit twisted that wood is. You lift up your cane, and you pull your secondary cane out of the way. Now you just use your latch, and she'll open all the way up 90 degrees, giving access to the road. Nice square gate, open, no drag on the ground. And then same on this side. She'll just pull open like that, 90 degrees. So now I can get all the way in my fence, have 11-foot opening. The Tundra can actually fit through a 9-foot wide garage door. So big old full-size truck will fit through here no problem, with room to spare, which is nice. And you know, best part about it is the outside of the fence, you'd never know these are gates once it's all stained and finished. So order of operations for normal operation would be to close the stationary door first, latch that, and then now you can use your primary anytime you want. So this should just perfect, just like that. So bring this in, latch that up, bring the cane bolt over, and you can actually put a little cotter pin in the end of these cane bolts too, so they can never pull out, which is nice. So yeah, guys, that's the overall how to build a double gate video. It's pretty straightforward. Follow my steps. I didn't do a whole build video on how to do every little thing, but I think with knowledge that you take away from this video, and then, you know, get down and dirty and start using it in practicality, you'll be able to figure it out. I also want to explain real quick before I jump off these little feet down here. And this is a little trick I've done with all my gate posts that I do that are only 4x4s. This, you'll notice this, there's quickcrete. Another 150 pounds of concrete have been added between these two. So that's, you know, there's well over 100 pounds, 250 pounds of concrete in this thing. But what these do is I put the first layer of concrete yesterday. I put the first concrete in, let these set. Then what I do is I come back the next day, and instead of filling this hole back up with all this dirt, I actually add more concrete to it. So I do roughly 65 pounds extra in each hole. And as this concrete's wet, I'll actually go through and kind of massage everything in, and then I cut these blocks to size, and this is glue, leftover wood glue. I wood glue and screw these to the post. This is all pressure treated material, and then I sink these down into the concrete. Now what this does, the post goes all the way through the concrete, which is a good stable foundation already, but since a 4x4 isn't as strong as a 6x6, you put these feet on the two areas where there's the most weight. So if you think about it, when the gate's always closed, most of the weight on that pole is going to be going this direction. This acts like a little foot that's standing now on concrete. So you have concrete under it and then a foot over it, which gives it some stability. That's what makes the gate not wobble when you open it up. Same for this side. So when the gate's full open, this acts as a foot to help give it a little bit of support. And then you just cover all that back up with dirt, landscape over it. You'd never know that's in there. And now you can basically cheat and use a 4x4 instead of a big 6x6, which is what's left over from my gate up there. So just a little quick tip on that. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll get you in the next video. Later.